Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today I've got a first impressions for you. First impressions of an Indian pen. It's in this box made by the company Kanrite. So there we go, there's a box. Let's see if I can open this up without tipping the pen out. No, I can't. The pen here has just fallen down. This is the Heritage model. Quite pretty. So join me now down on the table. We'll take the pen out of the box. We'll take a look at it. We'll do some size comparisons. I'll fill it with ink, do a writing sample, then I'll give you my first impressions of it. Here we are down on the table with the Kanwrite box. So we've got Kanwrite on the top, on the back. We've got their address details, customer care number, their email, and the website. Bottom and the sides are blank. Then we've got a flap here at the front. So let's lift the flap. And that reveals this gorgeous pen. This is the green Swirl. I'm just going to take it out the wrapper. Beautiful colour on this. That's in this nice solid foam, and it doesn't feel like there's anything beneath it. It lifts out. Yep, nothing there. One comment I will make, that's a lot of packaging, which if you keep the boxes and collect the boxes, that's fine. I tend to keep the boxes for a while but then throw them out because there's only so much storage space. So that's a lot of wasted material there. Let's fetch in the pen rest. There we go. So here we've got the Kanwrite Heritage in green Swirl. Beautiful. Look at the colours on this. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's take a walk through the body. So at the top, we've got, although it looks and feels like it's flat, I think there's a little teeny tiny little bit of a dome. We've then got a sharp angle down, and this is unusual because it then tapers in. So we're coming out and then in again. Very different, isn't it? Very unusual. We've then got a gold coloured clip. I'm guessing this is a plastic. Very springy. On there we've got Kanrite. We've got a little bulb at the bottom. The cap itself, so we taper out till we get to near where the bottom of the clip is, then it goes straight, and we come into this here, this Kanrite, this gold coloured Kanrite. It's a fairly wide band. Bottom of the band, there's a teeniest a bit of a drop off. I'm looking for it, so that's why I'm filling it. I think if I wasn't feeling for it, you wouldn't notice the drop off at all. Then we come into the body. Body tapers down till we get to a thinner gold coloured band. Then we've got the piston mechanism. This is a piston pen. Just unscrew that. Let's work that piston mechanism. See how that goes. Oh, maybe it isn't. So that piston cap has just unscrewed completely. So let me do that again. That unscrews. Not sure how this converter works. Let me just take it off camera for a second. Okay, worked it out. So this has unscrewed this cap, so it's just a blind cap. Then here, this knob here, this is actually what works the mechanism. So as I twist it, hopefully you can see there the piston coming down and then going back up. A bit unusual. And pop that back on. Let's pop the cap on again, shall we? The cap comes off in half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 turns. Not too bad, it's livable, isn't it? We've got a reasonably sized ink window. Well, no better when I start writing with it, if that is reasonable, but at the moment it looks like it's a good way to be able to see the ink. The section is in this same resin material. Then we've got the nib here. This is a Kanrite nib. And this one is a double broad. Quite nice, isn't it? We've got two-tone effect. We've got Kanrite. Then I think that's the logo. There's nothing on here that I can see, though, indicating the nib width. Now, it could be we've got some writing down here at the bottom. Let me just get mine. Yeah. So I've pulled out my loop. Down here below this logo, it's half buried by the section is BB. So it is on there, it's just difficult to see, but yeah, quite attractive looking nib. Let's pop the cap back on. Quite like the look of this pen. Let's do some size comparisons. My two size comparisons, Pilot Metropolitan, Lamy Safari. I always use these two so it's the same comparison each time. As we can see, all three of them look more or less the same size. Biggest difference is in the width. The Pilot Metropolitan is certainly the narrowest of the three. Let's take the caps off. With the caps off, Metropolitan a little bit shorter, but the other two pens very much of a muchness. This pen is advertised with a number 6 nib. It's also an ebonite feed, where the other two are plastic feeds. In the hand, this is a nice fit unposted, really fits really well. Does it post? It does. Feels alright, feels a little bit wobbly. Also feels a bit long, but unposted seems to be fine, so I'll be using this unposted. Going to step away from the table for a minute, and I'm going to give the pen a clean out. I always like to clean out my pens before I first use them. When I come back, we'll fill it with ink, we'll do a writing sample, then I'll give you my thoughts on this pen. So I'm back, I've given the pen a clean, and I've got the piston all the way down at the bottom. The ink I'm going to use, although it's a green pen, I didn't fancy using a green ink. What I've decided to go for is an ink by Dominant Industry, and it's Lake. So this is a bit like a turquoisey ink, but I do think there's hints of green coming through. I just thought it'd be something different rather than going with a straight green ink. So here's the bottle. As you can see, there may be a bit of a red sheen if we look around the bottom of the bottle. So we take the pen and we stick it in. Can I angle this a little bit? No, you can't really see much. So we go up, we go back down, then we'll go back up again. And at least we've got some ink in there. We can see there in that ink window. We just clean this off, then I'll get rid of the ink bottle and we'll get ready for our writing sample. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here we've got our notepad of testing. This is Oxford Optic paper. Very nice, 90-gram paper. Love this for fountain pens. Here we've got the pen. So let's see, how does this write? So we've got a Kanrite. Sounds scratchy. And this is the Heritage. That's the name of the model. Heritage. I can't remember how to spell. Double broad nib. Price-wise, 42 Aussie dollars. Obviously then there's shipping on top of that, but the actual pen unit itself, 42 Aussie dollars. The ink by Dominant Industry. And it's Lake. Definite tactileness to this, definitely can feel the feedback. If we look on the nib, not sure if I can get this into focus. No, a bit difficult. Let me move the focus point, see if I can get that now into focus. The problem is, I'm trying to get this in my preview, but my preview is backwards. No, it just does not want to focus, but it looks like it's a real big ball. So I'll have a closer look at that underneath my loupe at a later time. Drying times, immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. Still fairly wet there. I'll go the line below, 1 minute. Yeah, at a minute we're dry. Is there any line variation? So here's no pressure. Here's with pressure. Obviously more ink coming out, but a little bit wide, but not as much as I do expect. So none, with, none, with, none, and with. Going to move the mic down to the page and write a sentence. I'm hoping that you could hear that over the mic. This is a very loud writing nib. It's not scratchy. It doesn't feel scratchy. It sounds scratchy, but it's not. It's actually quite pleasant to write with. Final test. Backwards. I actually quite enjoy it. You know, for a $42 pen, it's not at all bad. Very nice. If we take a closer look at the writing, it's the standard ink, so there's no real special properties of the ink. Do see some shading. I know that's more of the ink rather than the pen, but there is some shading there. See a nice line. It's a double broad nib, so I expect it to be quite wide, and that's what I'm seeing. So, yeah, I think that's quite nice. Very loud, I say. I actually like it. I like feedback. I'm one of those weird people that like to have a bit of feedback. This sounds extremely nice. The pen itself does feel a bit on the light side there. So what are my thoughts on this pen? It's a very pretty pen. It is very light, but it's only 42 Aussie dollars. You know, I'm quite happy with it. I'm pleased with it. It seems to write nicely. Remember, this is just first impressions. I need to spend more time with it, but certainly on my first impression, writes very nicely. I actually don't mind this ink. I know it doesn't match the green in the body, but I think it's nice to have a bit of a different ink sometimes. It's an Indian pen. Very well done. You buy it direct from India. It gets shipped in about a week, so quite good. It came via DHL. Now, one thing I would say, if you're going to buy one of these, is watch for the shipping. The shipping was more than the pen. I did buy a number of pens, which meant that the shipping was then worthwhile. It seemed to be more or less a flat fee for the shipping. So just be aware of that if you're going to order from there. Take into mind shipping. Very nice though, nice enjoyable pen, nice fit in the hand, comfortable to use. The section seems fairly comfortable, it seems nice and wide. A lot of cheaper pens seem to have really thin sections and I struggle with them, but this one very nice. Quite a nice looking pen. I'm going to fetch in the box again. I do think the box, massive box for what it is. You know, I'd ordered a number of pens. I'd have been quite happy for all of the pens to come in here in one box. They didn't. Each pen was in its own box. So I think there's a bit of a waste there, a bit of a recycling issue, just being picky. But the pen itself, yeah, very nice. I love this actually, this top here, this looks just so different. I'm not sure what I think about this, having to unscrew the cap, then use this mechanism. I would have liked to have seen that all as one unit like most piston fillers. But on the other hand, I think it's a good idea because it does feel light and flimsy. If you crack this, at least you can still use that mechanism. So all in all, very pleased with it. I think 42 Aussie dollars. I think it's a really good investment. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on this Kanwrite Heritage? It's quite a pretty looking pen, isn't it? Have you got any Kanrite pens? Have you had any issues with it? I know I've seen a number of comments, some people saying how nice they are, some people saying that they've had issues. Let's see though how I go longer term with this. So far, I really like the look of the pen. So why not drop a comment down below? What are your thoughts on Indian pens? Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.